Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I get a chance to dive into somebody else's perspective on movies. And this week, I have my pal Ben here from who originally met with SiftPop and everything. And so glad to have you back, sir.
Thank you for having me, man. It's always a blast to come on your show and talk movies.
Absolutely, because that's what we do here. We love talking movies. And before we start talking movies, I'm going to give Ben here a chance to shamelessly plug whatever he would like to shamelessly plug.
Well, I don't have anything to plug at the moment that's really big. If you like what I have to say on here, you can follow me on TikTok at Ben Davis Movie Show or Instagram at Ben Davis Movie Show. You can also listen to my podcast, which is Ben Davis Movie Show. Also, I just released an episode on my podcast dedicated to Pitch Perfect, which is celebrating its 10-year anniversary. Which I said
Oh
this on the
my.
podcast, right? It blows my mind that came out 10 years ago, and that was a lot of fun. I love that movie. It is ridiculously entertaining and
Mm.
just nice. It's a nice movie to have on.
All the acapella puns that you could possibly come up with.
It's Aka
And
awesome, man.
yep, I remember when it came out. I was in college too when that came out, and that was a
I
pretty
was
big
too.
deal. I own both the first two. I haven't seen the third one. I remember when the trailer came out. I'm just like, I did they pull a Hangover, and we're
It's
like the first two are almost the same basic movie, and then they're like, well, we got to shake things up, and then be like, what the hell did you do though?
well, the first one is so it's relatable.
Uh-huh.
Like it's ridiculous, sure, but it's ridiculous in a way that's, you know, realistic.
Yeah.
The second one stretches it a bit, and then the third one really stretches it and it loses its luster. I will
Like,
say the second one I still find funny,
mhm.
but it's not as charming as the first one. The first one has way more heart to it. The Becca and Jesse relationship I always find great.
Mhm. Well, sequels. And
Right.
we'll be talking about that. But to get things started, I always kind of like to call this the watch list kind of question. But Ben, what's a film that's already been released that you haven't seen that you're most excited to check out?
Right now it's the Black Phone.
Okay.
I got when that initially came out, I got sick with the vid.
No.
I dodged it for several years and it finally got me. It took me out for like 2 weeks. And by
Jeez.
the time uh the movie or by the time I got better, the movie was gone from theaters. So I didn't ever get a chance to check it out. It's now on Peacock. So I'll
Yep.
probably check it out tonight. So
There you
I'm
go.
really
Got to prepare for the
excited. Yeah.
Halloween season.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was pretty excited about the Black Phone because like Scott Derrickson pulled out of Multiverse of Madness and is like, I'm gonna go back to horror, and Ethan Hawke looks so creepy. And I'm just like, and then you watch it, it's an interesting film. And I definitely look forward to hearing your thoughts about it when you get a chance
Did
to check it out.
Did you enjoy it? That I think that was a review of yours that I missed. I usually watch all your reviews and stuff, and that I think that
I
was missed.
I did like it. It had some flaws to it, but I thought it felt like a really well. I felt like a combination of like an old school kind of horror film, and
Okay.
then also like 2022 brutalness, because like it gets pretty brutal with certain
Okay.
things, and like bullying, people get straight
Okay.
up dicked in the face.
So thank you for telling me that. I was planning on trying to get my wife to watch that with me. I will not now. That is something that ever since we've had children or ever since we've had a child violence affects us differently. You
Oh, so
know, it
trigger
always is
warning,
affecting,
the
but
first
now it's
act of
like
the
personal.
film, a lot of bullying and abuse.
Okay. That might be
So,
one I watch by myself then.
well, and then also Ethan Hawke's a child predator.
Yeah.
So, all in all, this movie is not a great feel good
No, it
movie.
doesn't. It didn't look like it would be, but
It has very specific triggers when it comes to children, though. So
okay.
there you go. Now, flipping it, what's a film that hasn't released yet, Ben, that you're most excited to check out?
So there's a couple. I'm really excited for Tar because I've heard nothing but great things about that. Kate Blanchett is just she's an outstanding actress. You know, two-time Oscar winner. Probably will. It sounds like she's the front runner to win
It
Best Actress.
makes me sad because Michelle Yeoh, but you know, bound to happen once we actually got into award season. Quick fun story. I was supposed to see that 2 weeks ago. And then the light in the projector never came on at my press screening.
Oh
And they
no.
canceled it. And then I got an email Friday. It's like, hey, Shane, when are you running your review? I'm like, I didn't get to see it. What the hell? I am seeing it today the day of recording at 1 o'clock today.
All right.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. It looks good. The trailers look pretty trippy.
Mm,
Little Children was the director's last film, which was that is a very haunting movie, I
yep.
thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited for that. The Fablemans, Steven Spielberg. You know, we were just prior to recording talking about
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg a little bit.
Yep.
This looks like a very personal film to him. And I find when directors do very personal films, especially someone who is what I consider to be the GOAT of all directors, um, when you get someone like that doing a very personal film, usually it's a hit, you know. And the buzz coming out around that, it sounds like it's a special movie.
Yep. And he's still doing
Uh,
it.
he is, man. He's still knocking it out. But then after that, it kind of becomes more towards like the blockbuster. So like Black Adam, which comes out as the time we're recording this next week.
Yep.
Very excited for that. It looks like a fun blockbuster. I'm not expecting Shakespeare or anything like that, but it looks fun. I'm hearing there is a very super cameo at the end. So as someone who Superman's my guy, despite
Uh,
me wearing a Batman shirt and having Batman collectibles behind me. Superman is my guy, so I'm pretty excited if those rumors are true.
you'll just have to wait to see Batman and Flash whenever the hell that comes out.
I, I I'm hearing good things about that too, but you know, rumors are rumors. You never know. You know,
Well,
until
and Warner Brothers has to find money first to promote it.
do you believe that?
I 100% believe that they are in a bad financial situation.
I blame it on the previous owners doing what they did with the day-to-day streaming, probably some other stuff too.
Yeah, good job, AT&T.
Yeah. Um, Wakanda Forever. I'm more intrigued than I am excited about that. I mean, the trailers have been phenomenal. Ryan Coogler, he is 3 for 3, and not just like 3 for 3 good movies, like 3 for 3 like great movies. Black Panther is one of the best Marvel films, and that is a special movie.
Mm,
Every time I watch it, it just gets better and better. And this movie is, you know, facing the challenge of the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, and they decided to not recast and tell the story, and which might have been very cathartic for the director and everyone involved, but in a way it's going to be very interesting to see how they tackle that, you know.
yep.
It makes me a little nervous, but I'm excited for it.
I have a feeling it's going to
But
be
I think
something
the
like.
thing I'm most
I was just going to say, I feel like it's going to be something like he passed away because he was sick or something. Because like I
yeah.
I don't know if they're going to go as far as like having somebody kill him and stuff like that.
Oh no,
That would I feel
I
like that
don't
would
think
be a
they'll do
bad
that.
idea.
No, I don't think they're going to do that. It's just they're doing a Black Panther movie without Black Panther, you know, without
And there
T'Challa.
will be a new Black Panther as it appears from the trailer.
Yeah, and I'm betting it's Shuri, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think the movie I'm most excited for is Avatar: The Way of Water. Uh, James Cameron, to me, when I think of great directors, number one is Spielberg, but right next to him is James Cameron. He's not as prolific, but he never misses. He never does. I mean, you could say Piranha 2, but I don't include that because he got fired. But if you look at his filmography, you got Terminator, you got Aliens, you got The Abyss, Terminator 2, True Lies, Titanic, Avatar. Those are seven, not just good, but great movies. His weakest one is The Abyss, which would be any director's like crowning achievement. Like that is a fantastic movie. And he's a director that no matter how big his stories get, they're always grounded in real human emotion. They're not tackling these gigantic ideas. They're kind of broad ideas, but the way that he's able to tackle them makes them easy for every audience to gravitate towards them. And he seems to be a director obsessed with perfection and second chances. If you look at his themes in his movies, a lot of them are about second chances at life, marriage, motherhood, being a father, those kinds of things. He likes to tackle those kinds of things. And those are the themes that I really gravitate towards as someone who loves redemption. And it's going to be interesting to see because Avatar was what, 14 years ago?
Oh, around
14,
there,
15 years
13
ago?
came out in 2009.
Yeah, 2009. My math is terrible, but it came out in 2009. It took the world by storm. And now it's kind of that thing that people go back to and they're like, is it, that good? There also are those people that are like, it's overrated. But to me, I don't watch it all the time, but every time I pop it on, I'm instantly transported back to the world of Pandora and I'm just swept up by the magic of it. And so seeing that trailer too, I don't know what it is about the trailer. Maybe it's the music, but I just go back and watch that trailer over and over and over and over again. It is magnificent. It gives you nothing about the story, but it's all
No,
vibes.
I'm
I
waiting
love
like
it.
when
And
are
I
they
love the
actually
vibes.
releasing a trailer? Because like obviously
Probably
this is a
with
teaser, but
yeah,
I
probably
guess
with Black Panther, I would.
that would make sense. And can you? Oh my God, we're gonna get like an Ant-Man and a Avatar trailer with Black Panther and God's new trailers. Because seriously, every time I go to the movies, I see the Avatar trailer,
I love it. Every time I'm just like, okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm ready for it.
and it's like three constants that I have every time I go to the movies. I have Black Panther, Avatar, and Nicole Kidman.
See, I miss the Nicole Kidman ads because I have a Regal, so I don't see those. But I
Well, I don't
constantly
have to miss them because I see it all the
there's
time.
feeling that heartbreak at the movies or something like that. What does she say?
She's like, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. I'm like, but does it? Does it, Nicole
Break,
Kidman?
I'm good.
Now, talked about a couple of sequels. Now, I know most people are not fans of remakes. There are some great remakes out there, but also Hollywood seems obsessed with just remaking stuff because they don't have anything else that they want to make. But Ben, what is one film that you wish would get remade?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I love Amazing Spider-Man 1. I love it. And Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a super frustrating movie because there are parts of that movie that I think are great.
Yep.
There are story elements to that movie that I think are wonderful. Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man, and he's great in that movie. And his connection with Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone in that movie is, oh my God, it's so good. And the payoff in No Way Home is amazing. But
Yep.
that movie has some terrible stuff in it too. It's so frustrating because to me, the second best Spider-Man movie is The Amazing Spider-Man. I love it, and that second one is such a letdown. So much so they rebooted it.
Yeah. They're just
So
like, oh no.
yeah, it is a mess of a movie, and I wish they could go back go back to the drawing board and let Mark Webb do the story that he wanted to do. Because that is a movie where you can tell the stuff that Mark Webb wanted to do, and that's the stuff that works, and the stuff the studio wanted to do, and that's the stuff that feels like Batman and Robin or She-Hulk, if you want to go recent. It just doesn't work. So, like, I really wish they would go back and remake that. I know it won't happen, but
No, but that's why this is what I wish would get remade.
yeah.
So that I remember seeing that and just being like, I did. None of the villains worked in that movie. None of them.
Mm-mm.
Like at least in like Spider-Man 3, Sandman works in what they did with him, and I feel like the Harry thing, if it wasn't split between two other villains, would have it had impact because like they built up that tension since Spider-Man killed his dad in the first one. This is just like and
It's
it's like, what is
frustrating.
this?
Yeah, and it's like people want to compare to me, like, movies are subjective,
Yeah.
but Spider-Man 3 to me, over the years, I've grown to appreciate it more. It's still frustrating because, like you said, at least in that movie, if you just focus on one of the villains individually, it works. They do. And your mileage may vary on Topher Grace,
I
but
don't like Topher Grace, but Venom works
yeah.
narratively. Like he has a motivation to not like
Mhm.
Peter Parker. And to be fair, Peter was being a dick to him.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I that was an interesting bit of casting.
It was
But
very interesting. I love Topher Grace, but that didn't really work for me that much. But like you, at least with that one, there are parts of it that work, and the ultimate like theme of that movie of forgiveness, I think, is beautiful. But there's nothing. There's nothing as messy as there is in Spider-Man 3 that there is in Amazing Spider-Man 2. That is a mess.
and now the internet loves bully Parker and emo
It's
Peter
funny. In
Parker.
hindsight, it's funny because the trailers they make it seem like he's gonna be dark and super emo. Makes it look like he's gonna be Robert Pattinson in the Batman. But instead, he's this insanely goofy, and it's really funny, in hindsight. But at the time, yeah, it doesn't really work.
It gives me like the Mandarin vibes because like in the moment I was so mad about that, but in hindsight, Ben Kingsley's so hilarious.
I was the only one in the. I am an Iron Man 3 apologist. That's my favorite Iron Man movie.
Uh,
And that twist, I was the only one in the theater cackling. Everyone else it seemed like they were pissed, but I was
yeah,
like, oh my God, this
because
is
they
amazing.
were.
Yeah, this is amazing. I wouldn't go in there for 20 minutes line that he has is priceless. And then he works so good in Shang-Chi too. So
3 words: good drugs. And just even like All Hail the King, that short that came out with Thor the Dark World, that is the only reason I bought that on Blu-ray so
the
that I could get that short.
short's great.
Short's great. Now, Ben, what's your fondest memory of going to the movies?
That is a really tough question. I have so many fond memories going to so many movies with so many people. Um, I think my fondest memory as a child going to the movies was I got to my cousin was a manager at a theater up in Raleigh, Raleigh, North Carolina, and this was in the summer of 1999, and the Phantom Menace was about to premiere at 12:01,
Uh,
and the employees were going to watch it before the public, and he invited my mother and my siblings to go see it at the employee screening.
nice.
And I got to see it before everyone else in the general public. And I just that was such a special experience. That was really, really cool. And that is a fond memory. Every time I see my cousin Donald, I always tell him like that is the coolest thing ever. I will never forget that. But uh, seeing all the new Star Wars movies, those always felt like a special event. Whether it was The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, or even The Rise of Skywalker, seeing that in IMAX, saw that twice. Saw The Last Jedi back to back. The Force Awakens, I was shaking like a kid on Christmas. Like I was just so excited to see it. Um, but Blade Runner was another special experience seeing that in a theater because I saw it opening night and the sound, I don't know what it was, but they turned it up super loud. So the seats were vibrating whenever you hear that score. It was just a
Could not
transportive.
handle the Zimmer.
They could not. The seats were vibrating. It was fantastic. Man of Steel was a special experience as someone who is, again, I love Superman. I love Christopher Reeve as Superman, but I never really cared for those movies. I didn't care for Brendan Routh. I like Brendan Routh. I didn't care for that movie that much. Man of Steel was the first Superman movie that I felt like, oh my God, I'm seeing my superhero on screen for the first time in a correct way. That felt
What
like was special.
Quest for Peace didn't do it for you?
No. I always felt like Christopher Reeve was in a different movie than everybody else. He was great. Everyone else was just like, it just felt very hokey.
I I well, yeah, the most of them have that silly approach to them.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like the Donner cut of Superman 2,
Superman 2 is not bad.
which they're just like, all that stupid silly crap that Lester put in this movie? Gone. Goodbye.
Yeah. It's gone. Bye bye.
And then it's just like Kneel before Zod.
Yeah.
Which inherently is kind of silly. It is just Terrence Stamp in pajamas just being like,
Well,
Kneel.
no one talks about the fact that Superman takes away his powers, breaks his hands, and pushes him off a ledge in that movie, which is really messed up.
Just murder, death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think my favorite movie theater experience to round this up uh, is in 2013, or not 2013, but 2007. I was 13, 13 years old, and my mom was battling breast cancer at the time, and I was going through a pretty rough time. And so my dad was like, "Hey, let's go see that movie you really want to see. We'll travel to go see it. I know it's not playing here." That movie was Grindhouse. And you have to know, my dad was not into these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
He was an Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Star Wars, Batman fan. Everything else he didn't really care for. But he took me, and he also liked rom-coms. But he took me to go see this movie, having no interest in it. And I spent the day with my dad, him just going, "My God, this movie's awful," and me just eating up every bit of it. It was a very, very special experience that, when I look back on fond memories with my father, that is right up there as one of the best. Hanging out with my dad all day, watching a 3-hour Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino special.
There we go.
It was fantastic.
Stuntman Mike.
Stuntman Mike. He got that lap dance that we didn't see in the theatrical cut.
Yep. Because the thing is, I've never seen the theatrical cut. I've only seen like Death Proof, like as its own movie.
Really?
And I'm like, I love Down in Mexico. That song by the Coasters is so great. And, Kurt Russell was just on a whole other level than the movie.
My God, that scene where he's like freaking out at the end. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's fantastic.
So much fun.
Rose McGowan with the machine gun leg. How is she firing that thing? It makes no sense, but it doesn't matter. It's so cool.
No, especially in Planet Terror, didn't matter.
No, nothing matters in that movie.
Now, Ben, what's a film that really exceeded your expectations?
Oh, so this is yet another difficult question because I try and I pride myself on trying to go into the movies with the appropriate amount of expectations because I always try to judge movies based off of what they give me versus rather what I think they should be.
Mm.
Um, and I try to judge them based off of that. Um, I'm trying to think of a movie. I guess it. You know what? It might be. I brought it up earlier. Pitch Perfect. I walked into that movie and I was expecting just something kind of forgettable. And what I got instead was something very memorable and something that I go back to time and time again. It is just a comfort movie, and it's a great comfort movie. So probably Pitch Perfect because I wasn't expecting much, and it was a lot of fun.
Those are the best. When you, it's like I remember. Usually, my answer to this is whenever my now wife and I went to go see the Lego movie, just thinking like it's gonna be a bunch of Legos, and then you watch it, and you're just like, what the hell was this?
Everything is awesome.
Everything in that movie is awesome. The Craggle,
Yeah.
naive Polish.
the the police of Nail. Yeah.
It's Taco Tuesday. But yeah, Pitch Perfect is a fun time. I didn't expect much out of that when I watched it, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, this is always a tricky one because I don't know if like I know not everybody's like super into like reading and stuff like that, but Ben, what's one thing that's like a written work that you wish would be adapted into a film?
All right. This is a very twisted answer.
Okay.
People are going to question my sanity after I say this. The Book of Revelation in the Bible.
Hey, they used to make Bible epics all the time. Why not some other ones?
That one, though, if you read it, it's so trippy. It's so
We missed our opportunity to have Charlton Heston star in it, though.
yeah. Uh, there is some really dark stuff in that. It could almost be like a horror movie. Or you could adapt it literally. You could go metaphorically and go like Mother, which is essentially what Mother is. Um,
Oh, mother something.
yeah, Mother. Yeah, you got to say it with the exclamation point. Um, and I think I would do the Book of Revelation somehow. Maybe like adapt it in some way. I think there is something you could do with that that would be very very weird. It could be great or it could be really bad.
It's an interesting time too because most faith based films that you get today are extremely low budgeted, and like there was an art to making faith based films in like the 60s, like the 50s and 60s. Like they pumped millions of dollars into them in that time's money,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of epic tales that you could tell. So I'd see it as long as it's not from like the same people that have made some other thing. If Kirk
No,
Cameron's making this movie, I'm not watching it.
I would want, like a director like a Martin Scorsese
Exactly.
who is a man of faith
Yep.
that I would, as someone who is a Christian myself, would trust doing something like that because he himself is a man of faith. And I would like to see someone like Martin Scorsese tackle that and see what he thinks on the
I'd see it.
Book of
I
Revelation.
be ready opening day or wherever it's streaming because that's how that's going at this point.
God, I'm so over the. It's not that I hate streaming. It's just that it makes everything so difficult to keep up with.
Endless content.
Yeah.
Just Netflix specifically. The amount of crap that gets dropped on Netflix on a weekly basis, insane.
Luckiest Girl Alive. I didn't even know was a thing until I saw it on. It
It's on
come
my
up.
list. I've been very busy lately. I haven't been able to squeeze all that in. Like I had to carve out almost 3 hours to watch Block. blonde, and then I'm
I
just
I
like,
tapped out 2 hours in, man. I couldn't. It is. I get what they were going for, but it was nothing but you know trauma porn.
it was
And
unrelenting.
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I have better things to do with my life. I feel like this is the point of the movie. I get the point. I'm moving on.
Well,
Um,
you know what? It did really feel like one of those kinds of movies where I'm like, I don't think there's any gonna be any big revelations here. I feel like this is just the same stuff that's gonna happen the whole rest of this movie.
it's like going to an MMA class and telling, or in your coach telling you, all right, I'm going to get a full mount on you and I'm just going to hammer fist you in the face for 3 hours. That's what that felt like. And it's not that the movie is poorly made. It's
No,
just that it's a
that's what's even
barrage of trauma porn. That's all it
that's
is.
that's what's even more frustrating about it. It's like it's a well-made, good-looking film, and it's just like, oh my god. And this woman can't defend herself. She's been dead for decades. Why are you doing this? But anyway, that's a whole entire other thing. But yeah, streaming, it's a hard thing to keep up with.
So yeah, I can
There's
only imagine.
so many streaming services, and well, at least Killers of the Flower Moon's gonna get some kind of theatrical release and then wind up on Apple TV Plus. Because they're the only ones who will give Martin Scorsese money at this point, is streaming services. Now, talking about trailers. So, Ben, what is your favorite trailer of all time?
I have three that come to mind. Man of Steel, where the Hans Zimmer score kicks in.
Mm,
Like the first trailer, you hear the music that plays when Gandalf falls and the Fellowship of the Ring,
yeah.
and it lets you know, okay, this is going to be like a really serious Superman movie. And then that second one, it lets you know it's going to be serious, but there's something so like bombastic and
Mm,
joyful and heroic about it that I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. This is going to be the Superman movie of my time,
mm.
And I think that's one. The Force Awakens trailer, the one that not the Chewie we're home one, but the third trailer that
Uh,
dropped on Monday Night Football in a really bad game. I forget who it was, but
you mean you're not talking about Thursday Night Football? That's a whole
was it
entire other
the,
conversation. Continue.
oh, I feel bad for Justin Fields. Poor guys, I mean, running for his life. They better take care of him. I'm a big Justin Fields fan, but regardless, um, I think that Force Awakens trailer was phenomenal.
Mhm.
The yeah, that was great. I love the Rise of Skywalker trailer too. Same thing, dropped on Monday Night Football. Taking one last look, sir, at my friends. Instant tears. I was like, like it was great.
Oh, they'll be back.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, and I think other than that, recently my favorite trailer has been the Avatar trailer. Again, it's all vibes,
Mhm.
and that score is fantastic. And it lets you know, again, I say it's all vibes, but it lets you know what the main theme of the movie is going to be. It's going to be family.
Yep.
So
All about family.
you gotta say it like Vin Diesel, family.
I don't want to say it like Vin Diesel.
I don't blame you.
They're almost over. Um, now, shifting gears into talking about some music, I know we talked a little bit about some music throughout here, but I know before we started recording, you said this is going to be a tough one. But what's your favorite song from a movie?
Recently, it's something in the way in the Batman. The way that that's used and it's incorporated in the score, and then you hear like the how it's super melancholy, especially the first
Yeah.
time you hear it in the movie. But then the last time you hear it in the movie, there is this hopeful tone that goes over it. that washes over the score, if you will, like the city of Gotham has just been washed over. And you get that voiceover by Robert Pattinson. It is everything Batman is. It's absolutely wonderful. I think the way that the score is used in that movie enhances the movie itself, um, or the way that song is used, something in the way. Um, Kingsman, Freebird, that's great.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Most unexpected use of Freebird in a movie.
it's great. Another one from Kingsman. Let's Get Crazy at the beginning of Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Yep.
That's good. Uh, but I think I could go on and on for days, but I think my favorite might be In the Crow, Burn by The Cure.
Mm.
The way that is used in the movie, I get chills when the Every Night I Burn part plays, um as the lightning strikes and he's walking toward the window and you see the side of his face and the camera pans back. Just describing it gives me chills. I love it. I
There
think
we go.
that's my favorite use of a song.
Then you're not wrong. It is a very tough decision because there's so many different. You could just be like, how many songs from Tarantino movies could I possibly pick, or from a James Gunn movie, or from an Edgar Wright movie?
Oh
And
my
it's just
god, the
like
James Gunn movie, like James Gunn uses music so well.
so
I
he
love
made
his taste in music.
Brandy a plot point
He did.
thematically in the Guardians movie.
I really like my favorite song, Father and Son at the
Oh my
end
god,
of
that gets
Guardians. I cry every time. It is that is a great use. Um, Break the Chain and how it's used twice in the
oh
movie is it's perfect. It's used again in a melancholy way, and then it's used in a like pump up way of you shouldn't have killed my mom and crushed my Walkman way. I loved it. Like, yeah. His use of score, going back to or his use of music rather, his what was it? Peacemaker.
oh,
The soundtrack
Peacemaker.
of that's fantastic.
Yep. Oh my god. John Cena dancing in his underwear.
Oh my god,
Did not expect that, but it was hilarious. Oh man.
I love that show.
Me too. That was a great show. Now, so Ben, if you had to pick a score that you're gonna put on and listen to, what's that score gonna be?
Man, still Hans Zimmer. That one, or right now the Batman.
Oh, I definitely listened to that a lot after. Oh man. And that Hans Zimmer score for Man of Steel was amazing. And
Yeah,
that
even people
scene,
who like hate that movie love the score.
I was lukewarm to the movie the first time I saw it, and every time I've watched it since, I've loved it more. And Michael Shannon, General Zod, you took that from me.
Yeah,
I just love him. And I'm like, I want more Russell Crowe as Jor-El. And at least he doesn't say Planet Krypton.
Bennett Krypton. Yeah, no, he I I love the voiceover he did for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I believe that's new. When Superman puts on the suit and he hears the voiceover
Yeah.
um you hear the voiceover of Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe, of Pa Kent and Papa Cal or Papa L, I should say. Um, yeah, I think that was new, and the way that it was used in that movie was pretty great. Maybe they'll bring him back. I mean, rumors are that they're going to bring Cavill back, so
Well, I don't know how much of what's going on with Flash is real or not, but like I heard Michael Shannon's in it.
I heard that too, and I heard Feora is in it.
Yeah, I heard that Zod fights Supergirl. And I'm like, What? I have a feeling this Flashpoint movie is just going to be the most ridiculous movie.
Well, it's
And
such a shame everything going on with Ezra Miller and
it
what
can
they
be
are
the
doing.
only reason why they haven't scrapped this movie. Like, they have to know that they have something special here, and they're like, oh my God, I can't do this.
Yeah. Can you please get it together? Like, so we can release this? Because every rumor that you hear is that this movie is exceedingly special. And I mean, Andy Muschietti is a great director. I mean, it is a very hard to adapt book, and he did a fantastic job.
And the parts of the book that don't work as well as when they're adults too. So like
Yeah,
it's a lot more terrifying when it's a bunch of kids being terrorized by whatever it is.
yeah.
But we'll have to see. But Ben, my last question for you is what do you wish that movies would stop doing?
Uh, so it's not really a specific thing. It's very broad.
That's
But
okay.
there is a pattern that I see with movies where it's always in the dialogue, where the characters talk and it feels like I'm reading someone's Twitter thread as opposed to an actual conversation that's going on between two people. And that bothers me so much because I feel like as someone who I used to be on Twitter, I'm not anymore, but as someone who used to use it pretty regularly, I feel like I'm being taken out of the movie and I'm being put on that app that I hate again. And I'm like, my God, this doesn't feel like an actual conversation between two people.
Because
And
people don't even
that's
have actual
probably
conversations anymore.
I know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely get what you're talking about, where it's just like, let's beat you over the head with our talking points here.
Yeah, and it's not that like it's not there's not one specific movie I'm singling out here or anything like that. It's just
It's a
it is
lot.
a there's a lot of movies that do it, and it's frustrating as someone who, you know, I love movies, I love characters, but I love characters that feel like real and don't feel like I'm reading someone on Reddit or someone on Twitter or something telling me a bunch of talking points. It feels like you're giving me bullet points versus being in this character and speaking from this character's point of view. And that is something that I've noticed a lot of movies do, and it just kind of takes me out.
Well, and it's the easiest way to try to throw some themes and ideas at you, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the laziest way.
I was about to say it's lazy.
So lazy. But Ben, how I always like to wrap up this show is I let my guests ask me a question. So, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Ooh, let's see here. Uh, what is this is gonna be boring. What is a movie that you are most excited for the remainder of the year? Because there's not a whole lot that's coming out, but
You know what was frustrating is the one that I was most excited about got pushed back, which was Killers of the Flower Moon.
mhm.
That made me so upset when they announced that they were gonna go shoot the festival circuit next year instead of coming out at the end of this year. I guess they learned their lesson from silence. Um, awkward.
There was an
Um,
awkward silence. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and this is sad. I was talking about this the other week that so many of the movies that I've been excited about the rest of this year, a lot of them are turning out to be pretty disappointing to me. And I'm just like, 2022 is quickly becoming a pretty disappointing year in movies and makes me sad. But if I have to think about what I'm probably most excited about at this point, I guess it would either be The Fablemans because the buzz around it, and I have a whole new energy for Steven Spielberg right now as I've been going through his whole entire filmography, or probably Wakanda Forever. because like most of the Marvel movies that have come out this year, I like more than most people, but even they're pretty flawed.
Yeah, I'm in
And
agreement with you there.
they have their issues.
Mhm.
And you can tell somebody intervened with Thor Love and Thunder and trim that to shreds. And I'm just like, makes me so sad. And then they just blame Taika Waititi. And you
I feel
know,
like Kevin Feige's hands are being spread too thin. There's too much.
well, the and here's the thing. This is all speculation, but I heard it was the new head of Disney who said that needed to be under 2 hours.
Yeah, I heard that too, and
Well, so if that's true, f you, guy.
that's the exact same thing that happened with the theatrical version of Justice League. I heard, and we saw how that turned out. That was not
Well,
great.
that definitely was true because they're like, we
Yeah,
need this to be under 2 hours, and then it
that
just
was
feels
that.
like sprint to the finish.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
yeah.
but like, what I still have in my head that they can't be bad. Like, here's the thing: I feel like they have to let Ryan Coogler do his vision for this because if they don't, you're just pissing on the legacy of Chadwick Boseman,
Mhm.
and that is a horrible look.
You don't want to do that.
No.
That
So I feel like this film, and like based off of the trailer so far, I'm like, there seems to be so many potentially interesting conflicts and ideas in this. And like the vibe that I'm getting of two groups of people that are marginalized being pitted against each other, probably by somebody. And if that somebody is who I keep hearing rumors about, I'm gonna flip a shit in the theater. Which I'm not gonna go there at this point, but I just feel like
I hope it doesn't spell doom for Taliban in Wakanda.
if that turns out to be what's going on here, that's genius, and I trust Ryan Coogler to make it work.
Yeah, again, the guy's 3 for 3, and they're not good movies; they're great movies.
Well, because the only things that I had wrong with Black Panther is CGI at the end. And
Yeah,
the thing is, at this point, better for worse, it's just a moot point to complain about some of the CGI in Marvel movies because it's just at the point where it's just like it's literally impossible for the VFX people to like finish all of it
yeah,
at
because
the
there's
rate they're
so
making it
much.
because they need to slow down.
Yeah,
They just see money tinted sunglasses at this point. They're like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
cash the checks. Yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely Wakanda Forever from like I want to go to a movie and just be like, this is gonna be amazing. And then Fableman just feels so passionate. And because the thing is, it's like I'd probably throw Babylon there too. Cause like
I forgot about that one. Yeah, that would definitely be on the ones that I'm looking
because
forward because that looks like Wolf of Wall Street, but in Hollywood and in the
yeah,
was it the 30s or 20s?
I'm prepared to have so much fun with Brad Pitt in that movie, just based off
Margot
of that
Robbie
trailer.
looks like she is having a ball in that movie.
I feel like she's gonna punch a snake in the face.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where that movie's going.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like it's at that point where it's like we only have a couple months left. What's there to be excited about? And those seem to be the things that I'm most excited about. And what also making me think more about, I'm like, this is going to be because here's the thing. Now, if everything everywhere all at once and Top Gun and maybe hopefully the Batman can slip in there, because I don't know what else they're going to be putting up for Best Picture at this
I
rate.
I was having this discussion with a friend the other day, and I do think that Top Gun Maverick's going to slip in there. I think everything everywhere all at once is going to slip in there. I think uh if Wakanda Forever is great, it's going to slip in there.
Yep.
I also think don't bet against James Cameron.
Well,
Avatar will
that
slip in there.
if Avatar is of equal quality or better than the first one, it's gonna get nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah. So
So
that's four, you know,
of
very,
10.
yeah, four of 10 very like populous movies. And
Well,
I
and
could
then
easily see maybe the Batman getting a big, I think it should. It's my favorite movie of the year,
me
but
too.
nice. Yeah. Like,
But I feel like some things have to disappoint the rest
yeah.
of the year for some of them to get in. And but yeah, if any year now that they have to have 10 nominees that we're gonna get some big mainstream movies coming in there, just do it.
Yeah.
It's gotta be this point. But well, big mainstream movies, and then I said everything everywhere all at once. Weirdest damn movie.
Well, the thing is, that is, it hit a crowd,
It
and
sure did.
it's the highest grossing movie in A24 history. So that's a big deal. Now, I'm not as high on that movie as most people are,
Mm.
but I will celebrate it if it gets nominated for Best Picture because at the end of the day, it's a beautiful movie. It is in terms of its themes and everything. It is a beautiful movie. And it probably will. I think it will get a Best Picture
I think at
nomination.
this rate it will
Yeah,
because how the rest of this year has been going. Because like Amsterdam fell flat on its face. Um, I just feel like more and more movies are coming out and just disappointing.
Don't Worry, Darling was not. That was a dud.
Yeah,
Um,
both of them coming into the fall were like big things, and then like
mhm.
no, no,
Nope.
had a lot of
Women
problems.
Women Talking could be another one that does very well. And what's the other one that's coming out? It's the reporter movie about Harvey Weinstein and how that story was broke. I forget the name of that movie, but
Yeah, that
that's
comes
coming
out
out this year.
around Thanksgiving, I think.
Yeah, that's coming out this year. That could be another big one.
Yeah, but Ben, thank you so much for coming on to my show.
Thanks, man. It's always a pleasure to come on here and talk movies with you.
Absolutely. And you'll be on again soon at some point, especially when we have a new director to talk about Welcome to the Wasteland. And I have to, my main worry is if Nolan or Tarantino win, it's like there's 10 movies. I'm definitely going to have multiple people on per episode if like I want people to come on. Because like, at least with Scorsese and Spielberg, I had like dozens of movies for people to choose from. It'll be interesting. But as always, thank you, Ben. And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.